Welcome to Fan for Racing Radio. I'm Fan for Racing Sharon, and joining me tonight is Taz, a new member of our Fan for Racing crew, to help us out as a backup in case Jay or Sal is not available. And in this case, Jay's on vacation, so that's why Taz is here. Thank you, Taz.
Appreciate it. And we got some heated tensions rising here, Cup Series, and no better track to have it at.
Yes, that is so true. And we'll talk about some of those heated tensions as we kind of go through our preview here for the NASCAR Cup Series. There is a big race going on in the Cup Series because 10 races and counting before the playoffs begin, number one. But Pocono is the Great American Getaway 400 presented by visitpennsylvania.com. The track is a 2.5 mile asphalt paved oval, and they'll be racing this Sunday, June the 22nd at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And remember, it's on Amazon Prime. This is the last race on Amazon Prime. I'm going to miss those guys. I think they've done just a stellar job of presenting the races. They've made every race exciting. I will say that. That will be at 1:30. They'll have their pre-race coverage. Radio coverage will be on MRN and SiriusXM NASCAR Channel 90. The distance is 400 miles over 160 laps, and stage one ends on lap 30. Stage two is going to end on lap 95, so that's a 65 lap stage. And then the last stage will end on the last lap, lap 160, and that is going to be 65 laps. Okay, so there is going to be, for the Cup Series, they will have their practice and Busch Light pole qualifying on Amazon Prime on Saturday, June the 21st. They'll also, starting at 12:30 p.m., MRN and SiriusXM will have coverage as well. So you'll want to catch that because how they line up here, I think, is going to make a difference. And then, of course, the races, again, at 2 p.m. on Amazon Prime. I've liked their coverage.
Yeah, they've done very well with their coverage. They do a lot more of the side-by-side coverage, which is very fascinating. Like they're giving the sponsors or whoever's paying for these commercials at this time their paid time to do it, but they're not taking away from the average or the diehard fan who wants to see the racing action, doesn't want to miss out on it. So they're doing a very good job of doing that. And I believe, if not all of them, but I believe a good portion of these guys who are in the broadcast team for Amazon will be transitioning over to TNT after this week. So I think we'll be okay. It'll just depend on how well does TNT cover the ground versus what Amazon has done so far. And it's been quite some time since TNT has had NASCAR.
It has. It's kind of a return to TNT.
Yeah. And so I think the last time I remember TNT was when Alan Bestwick was like their lead guy.
I love Alan Bestwick. I miss him.
Oh, same here. When he was with SRX, that was amazing. And
yes.
And little to known fact, if nobody caught this back on Memorial Day weekend, which was the wonderful motorsport weekend, if nobody caught this, Alan Bestwick was basically the PA/track announcer at Indy for the Oscar Mayer Weenie 500. I caught that, and I was like, "Is that him?" And I think I saw it from Adam Stern, who confirmed that. And I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, that's pretty cool. He is one of the best, I think. This is going to be the 92nd running of the Cup Series race. They've been running there since 1974. Just amazing.
Wow.
One of the longtime tracks on the schedule. So, who are your drivers? Have you looked at the entry list for this one?
I'm trying to see if there's any wild card. Obviously, you have your typical, your usual full-time drivers. Trying to see if there's any outside ones here. Looks like Brennan Poole will be piloting the 44 NY racing machine this week. Trying to see. It looks like basically everybody else is your typical, your regulars. Yeah,
Everybody's going to make
37
it
entries.
in.
So everyone, everyone's going to qualify, and the only outstanding one that we're not used to seeing on a weekly basis is Brennan Poole for the NY Racing 44.
Okay. So I always like it when everybody makes the race.
Yeah, unfortunately we're at the point of where NASCAR doesn't do the whole where was it? It was like you qualify your way in. There is no guaranteed charter deal, which kind of sucks for the open teams, which I think that's probably why there's not so many open teams to do that. But I mean, it's nice to see everybody qualify. That way, it gives the open teams. Unfortunately, only one this week, but it's something to run for and put some money and hard work to use.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so 10 and counting. Only 10 more races before the regular season ends and the playoffs begin. And
yeah, I think there's only 6 spots right now that are available on points. So there is no true not everybody who has won has basically clinched. So there's drivers with 1 win who have not really officially clinched. That includes your last week's winner at Mexico, Shane Van Gisbergen. The drivers with only 1 win would be Ryan Blaney. And William Byron, I should say as well. So basically, from William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, SVG, and Ross Chastain, those drivers are going to want to point at Pocono like we need this second win to clinch our way in, because Larson, Hamlin, and Bell, those guys have won 3 races each.
3 races.
So they're guaranteed in at this point. Right now, the bottom of that 1 win list that could not even make the playoffs is to unfortunately name them, and they're coming from the same team as SVG and Ross Chastain, which I do believe. I mean, SVG is coming into this race as a long shot, with his lack of oval experience. Yes, he's had a year of Xfinity. Yeah, he's trying to run some other oval type races like he did with Legends earlier in the week too, that he did. So it's not that he's not trying. It's not that he's not trying. It's just the lack of his racing.
Let me just say something though. The tricky triangle probably is most like a road course because you've got the different turns and he knows how to navigate those different types of turns and things. So it might play into SVG's.
It very well may with that factor. I mean, I would kind of say, turn 1 has like that Darlington resemblance, that tight corner, well banked deal. Turn 2 is kind of like your super speedway tri-oval type of deal, and turn 3 gives you is like that very low banked, wide open type of deal where you're not off the throttle as much as the other 2. So like an Indianapolis type of corner. So there is that deal that could play into SVG's wheelhouse.
So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Was there something else you wanted to mention there? I think I cut you off.
A few other. I think there's a couple drivers that could get a second win here that have won at this track. Actually, not only they could get their second win of 2025 that have won here before. We mentioned Ryan Blaney. He's done this with Wood Brothers.
Yep,
I believe he
yep.
did that. He did it with Penske before too. Joey Logano has won here. Is this Joey Logano's big time circle track? No, in all honesty. But he's won here. So it's not that he's not strong, but he knows how to win. It's just a matter of getting that chip off his shoulder and making that happen. So there's two notable drivers who have already won but have not really clinched themselves really into the playoffs that really could take that leap this week.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's one driver, though, that is particularly proficient at Pocono Raceway, and he's going to be going for number 8 this weekend. Denny Hamlin. Hamlin is back in the number 11 this week.
Would not be surprising. I'm pretty sure when you look at Vegas odds, he's probably like a very low number. He's probably like a plus 200 because he's dominated. Out of the 35 Pocono races he's done, he's finished the top 10 23 times. So very rare that this guy, looking at other stats to go along with that, he's had 4 poles and he's led almost 900 laps.
Wow.
Out of the 5,600 some odd laps he's completed at this track. So
amazing. Now
he knows how to do it.
He knows how to do it. You're right. Now
there is one driver I kind of want to highlight quick. He has the best average finish of current Cup Series drivers. He's looking for that first Pocono win and looking for a second win to clinch himself into the playoffs, and that's William Byron. His average finish is a 9.4. Again, best of current Cup Series drivers. He's yet to win at Pocono. He has 3 top 5, 6 2 poles, and 11 Pocono Cup Series races. So Byron is going to be one to watch, and he's going to be coming for that win.
Well, there's another driver I want to kind of point out. He has won at Pocono before, and you mentioned him earlier. He won at Pocono in 2023 in the next gen car. He crossed the line third, and failing to lead a lap after Denny Hamlin, who finished first, Kyle Busch second, were both disqualified in the post-racing inspection. So that's how he won. He wants to redeem himself and get a victory. He actually finished third, but ended up winning that race. So I think he wants to make it a legitimate win. And he's also a driver that leads all other drivers in points earned at Pocono in the next gen car. So he is a proficient driver at Pocono Raceway as well. This could be a good points day, especially if he wins. Chase Elliott. I would look for him to be a contender throughout the event.
Yeah, I feel like Chase has been like that third guy at Hendrick, and
yes,
I'm honestly not certain if it's really so much of Chase post injury or if there's something amiss with that team. A lot of people think it could be a crew chief driver pairing. It's just not mashing well anymore. And again, as I mentioned, this could be like a post deal where Chase it may be a confidence deal. Like before post injury, Chase Elliott was easily a front guy. Now, after his injury from last year, he's only gotten 1 win, I believe, since then.
Yes.
He has not won this. He has not won this year, and he only won once last year. So it's just a matter of, is it a lack of confidence on his end,
Maybe
Or
that's why
is
he's
it?
racing Xfinity this week.
Yeah, maybe, probably so.
I think he's looking to build up his confidence. But another driver that's doing double duty this week is Carson Hocevar. He's racing the Truck Series this weekend as well as the Cup Series.
Yeah, I'm looking to see how he responds to a lot of the commotion from this past week with Mexico. Obviously, there was the recent. I mean, Spire just gave him a big old whopping fine
Yes,
for
yes.
some of his comments he's made. Um, and with his, and I'm interested, and I hope he kind of responds well to the whole rivalry deal he's dealt with the last 2 weeks of Ricky Stenhouse
Yes,
Jr. So
yes.
so Carson Hocevar, I think this week for him is focused more on rebounding from your mistakes the last couple of weeks. Has he stepped up to the plate and going to rewrite the wrong?
And I think he will. I think he will. Carson Hocevar, we've been saying this all season long. He's on a learning curve. He came up to the Cup Series very quickly. He came right from the Truck Series into the Cup Series. And he just hasn't learned some of the lessons that you learn in those lower tier series. Then he's bringing some of that, I guess you'd say immaturity by not having that previous experience in the Xfinity series. A lot of drivers will go to the Xfinity series before they come up to the Cup series. He came straight from the Truck series in. And I think that there's a benefit to going to the Xfinity series from a maturation point of view. He's not been given that opportunity to do that in the lower tier. So he's doing that in the Cup series. And it's a little bit frustrating, I think, for some of the drivers.
Yeah, he's. I mean, he's shown some growth, but obviously he's still got a lot more to go.
Yeah, he's got some more ways to go. He doesn't get it yet because when you're that age, you think you know it all. But
Yeah, definitely.
and he definitely exudes that sometimes. Okay, so who else did you have on your list here?
I think a couple. I think there's like a couple underdogs I kind of want to like throw in. I feel like Alex Bowman would be a good underdog. He's won at Pocono before, but again, Bowman, he's not the strongest driver at Hendrick. We've all known this. But I think Bowman at certain tracks, he find if there's one he's won at or he's very strong at, he's going to do it again. So I would say Bowman's one to kind of don't let him slide under your radar, kind of be on the lookout for him. And another one I think also falls under that plate would be out of the RFK camp, and that's going to be Chris Buescher. Again,
Uh-huh.
he's won here once, and with how the rise of RFK has been the last few years, they started very slow this year, but they're starting to get back to where they were running last year.
Okay. And Ty Gibbs, did you know that he's been in the top 5 in speed and long run speed in each of the last 2 Pocono races? He had a good run, I thought, at Mexico City. Does he have some momentum going for him?
He very well may. Um, and I would say he's got some momentum. I wouldn't say a whole lot. I'm kind of hoping that something turns around for him, and hey, this could be his first Cup Series win of the season. And
Yeah.
Pocono's been known for first time winners too.
Okay, and you mentioned William Byron being one to watch this weekend. What about Tyler Reddick? Both of those drivers have been top 10 in speed in all 3 of the next gen car races at Pocono. And I
Yeah,
think,
Reddick has led about 15, 16 laps, somewhere around that range. Is yet to win at Pocono, but he's no stranger to victory lane. Uh, let's see, in 7 of his Pocono races, he's finished top 5 twice, top 10 4 times. So, um, I think it's just a matter of when will Reddick strike. This is one of his tracks where he's not the strongest, but he's not the weakest. So I would say for Reddick, a win for you here this week would probably score at least the top 10.
Oh, okay. And then since swapping pit crews before Darlington, the number 5 team has had the number 1 ranked pit crew. And we know how important pit crews are to a team.
Oh yeah, for sure. A, a, we've seen many races in the next gen era where base basically, pit crews have won or lost your race. Um, it's basically kind of like your pit crews are kind of like your unsung heroes. We always highlight the drivers and such, but really the pit crews are also the key factor of racing in general. And
Yes,
and of course, one pit stop can change a whole outlook of a race.
there certainly can. And then there's 3 drivers in the field this week. They got their very first win at Pocono. Ryan Blaney in 17, Chris Buescher in 16. That seems weird to me that Chris Buescher would have it before Ryan Blaney. But that's interesting. And Denny Hamlin going all the way back to 2006. Jeremy Mayfield also did it, but that was back in 1998. And he's not in the field this week.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those tracks. But I wouldn't be surprised if somebody like Denny Hamlin, who's dominated, takes another win out of the hat, or as we mentioned, somebody somebody like a Chris Buescher who hasn't won here in quite some time, but has the capabilities of doing it. Byron has mentioned before. There's plenty of drivers that have Pocono circled, but they have it for many different reasons. Hamlin has it circled to try to keep going with win number 8. Byron and Bowman are doing it for just to get that another win. I mean, Bowman hasn't won this year yet, but Bowman's looking for another win at Pocono. Byron's targeting this one as his playoff clinching race. So a lot of these guys have circled Pocono for many reasons.
I think you're absolutely right. Let's talk about the playoff picture real quick, because 10 of the 16 spots are filled. That means there's only 6 spots left, 10 races to go. Are we going to see? We have seen 3 drivers, I think, be below the cut line and win their way in. I know Cindric is one of them. We saw SVG do it last weekend, and Josh Berry is the other one. So are we going to see somebody else come from the bottom and race their way in?
The only name that really actually now that I really scroll further down in the regular season standings, there's 2 names that come to mind that could really play spoiler into this. One being Carson Hocevar, being that we're starting to see him be a front runner with how well he's ran the last couple of weeks. But again, I think Carson Hocevar this week is not focusing so much on winning; it's just more focusing on rebounding to your wrongs in the last couple of weeks.
And not running into Ricky Stenhouse.
Yes, and then the other one I looked at, he's even further down than SVG in the regular season standings, is Brad Keselowski, who has won before at Pocono, so he could, play spoiler of this.
That would be cool to see. I think it would be a sentimental favorite, I think, if he were to win. Okay, now the next thing is the bubble is now 19 points between Chris Buescher and his RFK teammate, Ryan Preece. So are those 2 kind of being competitive with one another to get into the playoffs?
I would say, yeah. Obviously, they're not going to we got to be realistic here. They're teammates. They're
Yes,
going to be at the end of the day. They're both racers. They're both going to compete for the same deal. However, they're not going to go at it as like their rivals by any stretch of the meaning.
right,
They're gonna go at it the way that they feel is the right way to go at it, and they're gonna see it as the at this point for them, they're gonna look at it as which driver was the better one of the two.
right, right. I agree. So Ryan Priest, I think, is below the cut line right now. Is Chris Buescher below or is he up?
No,
Oh,
Chris Buescher's above.
oh, that's what I thought. So Ryan Priest is below, Chris is above. So those guys, there's definitely that effort that they both want to be in. Okay. Also, 14th place. There's 16 cars in the playoffs. 14th to 17th. Those drivers are separated by 39 points. So, would you consider that tight?
In today's Cup Series, I would say so. If
Yes.
if you are within that one race, you can easily blow it just by wrecking out or having a mechanical failure that ends your day.
And you
I'm
you want to make sure you're moving in the right direction, not the wrong direction.
yeah, I mean, really, realistically, too, with how the Cup Series is, you have 61 points available, and there's a gap between winning both stages and winning the race. And if you can get fastest lap, that's a 61 gap. And if you finish in last, that's one. So you have a 60-point gap. If you are within that 60-point gap, you
Yes.
better you better be watching out with how the Cup Series is. And Bubba Wallace he's very close to having that one race comfort points wise, but he's not there yet. He's only 57 above. So
Oh.
he's got to be watching out for that as well.
And these guys, they're kind of trying not to break the egg, if you will, because they want that level of aggressiveness that they're going to be able to advance themselves, but they don't want to be too aggressive and wreck themselves out.
They're going to do whatever it takes, but they don't want to do it to a point where it could end up hurting them, regardless if it's, you know, doing something that ends up wrecking you out that day, or doing something that could end up in some sort of retaliation the next week or 2 weeks, or or somebody could play the silent assassin role and kind of, play it off as if like nothing happened for a few weeks, and then when it really matters, like I'm gonna do something to kind of mess you up.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with your assessment about William Byron kind of trying to get that second win to kind of put himself up in the group of the three drivers that have the three wins. He wants as best seating as he can get, because he's right now at the top of the points list. He's probably going to end up winning the regular season championship over Kyle Larson. But this is another situation where you want to be aggressive, but not so aggressive you end up hurting yourself more than helping. He does have, and a few weeks ago, this was Ryan Blaney, we were saying this. Now it's William Byron. He's got 172 stage points so far this season. That's 27 more than any other driver. So stage points, where you finish in that top 10 gives you extra points. And he's been there in that top 10 racking up those stage points.
Yeah, this year with Byron has been a story of running well in I guess you could say 2/3 of the race, but when it comes to that final third, it hasn't been there for him.
Yes, that is the truth. Also, the driver with the most playoff points are different than stage points because you get playoff points when you win a stage and when you win a race. And Kyle Larson has the most. He's got 23 of them. There's a couple others that are kind of close, but not quite.
Yeah, when we talk about Kyle Larson and William Byron for the playoff deal, and right now, if we were to start the playoffs right now, Larson would only get 9 bonus playoff points for
Yep.
him finishing in second, which that would give him 32. William Byron, your regular season champion, which, by the way, regular season champions, regardless if they win a race or not, they're guaranteed into the playoffs, which again can screw one of these 1-win playoff drivers because that regular season championship means something. So,
Yes.
and you get 15 playoff points with that. Byron, with
Yes.
him having 12, would have 27. He would still walk away less than Kyle Larson. So,
Wow.
so it's so yeah, William Byron could say, "Oh, I got 15 playoff points coming from being regular season champion," but Byron, buddy, if you want to compete with Larson, you gotta and want to have those playoff points and knock heads with your teammate there. You gotta
You got to rack
not
up
not,
some
not only
stage wins.
not only that, but you gotta get some race wins
Wins.
to
Yep.
help you out there.
Yep. Yep. I agree. I agree. And I think it's going to be a big deal. So you gave me a couple drivers. You gave me a driver or two that you think could win from below the line. Who's going to win at Pocono?
My pick to win at Pocono, I'm not going Denny Hamlin on this one. I think I have nothing again. I'm honestly a fan of Denny Hamlin. I love the villain character of Denny Hamlin. He's not going to be our favorite driver this week. This driver, I'm gonna say, gets his first Pocono win. He's gonna avenge that Pocono win. He believes he should have had last year. That's gonna be Kyle Larson.
Ah, okay. So that's a really good pick. I'm going to really go out there on a limb. I'm going to say Brad Keselowski finally breaks through.
Yeah, that's not a bad option either. I mean, believe it or not, in terms of overall stats wise, he has the second best average finish behind William Byron, and he's only got. And it's hard to believe when you look at the top 3 best average finish drivers. Byron's number 1, has no wins, but has top 5s and top 10s. Brad Keselowski only has 1 win in 27 Pocono races. He's next in line. Then it's our Denny Hamlin with 7 wins. So it's really Pocono, that big wild card. It's amazing.
Yes. All right. So, and do you have a dark horse here?
Dark horse, I'm not expecting him to necessarily win, but I wouldn't be surprised if he slides through under the radar. That's gonna be out of the legacy camp, and
Oh,
That's Eric Jones.
I like
Uh,
it.
he's got 5 top 5s and 8 top 10s to 13 Pocono races. So I would say Eric Jones would be a pretty good dark
What about Ty Gibbs?
horse to
How
go with.
does Ty Gibbs stack up there?
Um, he's only finished top 5 once, and that's also his top 10 finish in 3
Oh,
Pocono races. But he has led for 25 laps. So I would say he wouldn't be a bad dark horse pick either.
okay. We'll see. He might have a little bit of momentum on his hand. And when you think about Pocono racing like a road course, he did really well last week at Mexico City.
He's a road course guy.
He is.
Ty Gibbs is a road course guy.
He definitely is. Okay, now we've been covering the in-season challenge. I think we've covered it more than anybody else sometimes. But I will say, we know that the top 32 drivers who were in the top 32 after Nashville are the drivers that were eligible. Only 4 drivers didn't make it into the in-season challenge. Shane Van Gisbergen, which is really a shame because he won at Mexico City last week. He could have been a
Yeah.
top seed. So Shane Van Gisbergen is not, even though he won last week, he is not in the in-season challenge. He did make it into the playoffs. He is playoff eligible now, but not in-season challenge eligible. So he's one driver. Cole Custer, Riley Earps, and Cody Ware are the 4 drivers that did not make it into that in-season challenge. So Michigan was a qualifying race for seeding. Mexico City was a qualifying race for seeding. And now Pocono is the last qualifying race for seeding. So they're going to look at the best finish of the drivers over those 3 races. Tiebreakers are going to be broken by looking at the second best finish, then the third best finish, and then if they still have a tie, they're going to look at the series point standings for the tiebreaker. And just to give you an idea of how that looks, I want to bring up this graphic because we've got, I want to mention NASCAR Insights is who does this, and this is a great graphic. It gives you what the current seeding would be after 2 races. The Michigan race, it tells you where everybody finished in that Mexican race here, but it also tells you where they finished in the Mexico City race. So just to give you an example, Chris Buescher is second. Okay, he's tied with Christopher Bell, right. So when you look at those 2 drivers, they both have second place finishes as their best finish over the 2 races, but Buescher has the better second place finish at 10th versus a 16th for Bell. So that breaks the tiebreaker there for those 2 drivers. So that gives you an example of how they're looking at that. After Pocono, we'll have 3 races to look at and determine the top seeding. And why is that important? Because of this graphic. This is the bracket. And by the way, fans are going to be able to fill out their own bracket and possibly win $1 million if your bracket is the best bracket of everybody. So Pocono ends the Prime Video part of the season, and now we go in after Pocono, we go into the TNT part, but this TNT portion is also the in-season challenge, where over the next 5 races, they're going to fill out the rest of this bracket. So the first race is at Echo Park Speedway at Atlanta. That's where these yellow drivers are going to be. We'll have 32 drivers at that race when going in, but coming out, those 32 drivers are going to become 16 drivers. And that's the next level. And that race is Chicago Street Race. So another road course. Chicago is the next race. Then Sonoma, another road course. Then Dover is round 4. And after Dover, there's only going to be 2 drivers left. So 16 goes down to 8, goes down to 4, goes down to 2. The last 2 standing will race for the championship, and it'll be at a crown jewel track, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So I think that's a great way to recognize one of our crown jewel tracks as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, and one thing that looking at how the seating is so far at the moment, and looking at how if the challenge was to go to the knockout phase right now,
Yes.
a couple notable. I just kind of want to quickly mention this before we move on, is some of the matchups that I think are going to be very heavy to look for. And I don't want to say this. I'm not saying this from a seating perspective. I'm saying this from like how we've seen the drivers perform this year. Uh, I'm looking at right now in the first round a Ty Gibbs versus Todd Gilliland. Those are 2 drivers who this year at the more common tracks have not been there. But in some of these like wild card races, they come through. So I'm interested to see how a place like Atlanta that I believe suits more of Todd Gilliland, can he fare better than Ty Gibbs in this matter. Whereas
Yes.
Chicago and Sonoma would better fare Ty Gibbs. So Ty Gibbs could very easily get upset in a track that's not in his comfort level, but the next two races are so suited up well for him. Another one as well. Zane Smith and AJ Allmendinger. Those two guys are not there, but when you put in with those two, it's either way with Atlanta's. And if Allmendinger lucks out with that one, he's got two races that he's going to cruise his way through, I believe, just because of his background. And I think one other one that kind of another battle of underdogs: Kyle Busch, Josh Berry.
Yes.
Kyle Busch, we know we know Kyle Busch. Like he's this top guy, top driver, and then Josh Berry, who's coming in well with Wood Brothers, obviously winning in Las Vegas. I think Kyle Busch, when you look at Atlanta, Chicago, and Sonoma, Kyle Busch has those three written off. But can Josh Berry play spoiler? Obviously, with Atlanta being the first race, can he play spoiler of that?
Well, this was done before Shane Van Gisbergen got his second victory on a road course, but these are the road course wins in the next gen era. So with two road courses in those 5 races, it's going to favor these drivers that are the road course drivers in that next gen car. Tyler Reddick with 3, Kyle Larson with 3, Christopher Bell with 2, William Byron with 2. So Tyler Reddick, that's going to play in his favor. We know that these guys are already at the top. Kyle Larson, Bell, and Byron. Reddick is in there, but he's not in that top 3.
Right.
And then you've got Chris Buescher, a road course driver, Allmendinger, Alex Bowman, McDowell, Ross Chastain, Shane Van Gisbergen, who's not in the in-season challenge, and then Martin Truex, who's not racing anymore. But those are the drivers to really watch on those road courses.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure.
So I thought you brought up some really good challenges. Keep in mind, you just have to beat the guy that you're paired up against. And if you beat your guy, then you're going to move on to the next round. So that's going to make it interesting. All right. One other thing I want to make sure we mention before. Did you have anything more you wanted to say there?
No, I think that was pretty much about it on that subject.
Okay. The last thing that I want to mention, and this is on my to-do list for this week, is the American Thunder program that is called NASCAR to Le Mans. It's available on Prime Video. So it's a feature-length documentary chronicling NASCAR special entry 100th anniversary of the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2023. So they followed them around. They made a story out of it, a documentary out of it. And I think it's going to be pretty fun to watch. Do not miss that. Hopefully you have Prime Video and you can watch it.
I think the reason why this is highlighted so much and made a documentary out of it is because of the fact when you think of sports car racing, road racing, yes, NASCAR has road course racing, and now we're getting into the street course type of deal. But when you think of typical, road racing, sports car racing, such as Le Mans, you do not think of NASCAR. And NASCAR, with partnership of Hendrick Motorsport, it made that happen, and it made it happen at a very centennial history-making season.
100th anniversary, yes. And it was a dream of our CEO, Jim France, too, since his childhood, to have one of his cars race at Le Mans. And by his cars, he means one of his NASCAR cars. And he went to the most successful team in NASCAR to make that dream come true.
Yeah, and Jensen Button, who's a Formula One driver, he knows about road racing. Has done select NASCAR starts, obviously through the road courses. Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champion, who is who after Cup Series, after Cup Series and IndyCar full time, pretty much went back to like some of his roots of like, um, you know, doing sports car racing with like Le Mans. He also did I think he was also, I'm pretty sure he was also part of the 24 Hours of Daytona. I'm not sure. I know he did it the first year after his full time Cup deal. I don't remember
I
if he's
remember he did
done it
too.
one or
Yeah.
two more times after that. And then of course Mike Rockenfeller was a part of that driver rotation during the Le Mans race.
Okay. So the American Thunder NASCAR to Le Mans is produced by NASCAR Studios and Griffin Van Mason and directed by Brad Lockhart. The film is executive produced by Jeff Gordon of Hendrick Motorsports and Tim Clark, John Dahl, Amy Anderson, Tally Hare, and Matt Summers of NASCAR. So NASCAR really got behind this documentary in making sure that it happened, and it's definitely going to be worth the watch.
Oh yeah, just by the sounds of this is something you want to really tune into.
Yes, indeed. Okay, we've done all the previews now. So Monday, watch for all the reviews to be coming from Bamford Racing Radio. And then we'll have our NASCAR Hot Topic Sound Off. There's already so many things that we can talk about in NASCAR Hot Topic Sound Off. I can't wait for the next edition, episode number 2517 for our Hot Topic Sound Off will be at 10 o'clock Eastern on Bamford Racing Radio. That is our live stream. And we actually had somebody in the chat room this week interacting with us. That wasn't you, was it, Taz?
No, that wasn't me.
That wasn't you. Okay, I was wondering about that. Okay, so we're looking forward to our Hot Topic Sound Off for Monday night. So stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. And Taz, I want to say thank you so much. I know this ended up being a late night for you. You have to get up early in the morning. I appreciate you, though, being here and helping out with our previews. So thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me here to do this. And well, hopefully we can make this happen sooner.
Okay.
Again.
Oh, I hope so, too. I had a lot of fun with it, and I hope you did, too.
Sure did.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'll see you the next go around, and we'll see everybody else in the next video. Take care, everybody.